Hello and welcome back. So this one is going to be episode 2 of the winter cod fishing, and I don't mind if I catch or not. I've been out now probably about 4 or 5 times trying to film episode 2, and unfortunately we blanked every time, and I didn't want to put another video of me not catching, considering episode 1 was also not catching. But yeah, whatever, it's going up online regardless. So I'm going to head out now. We've come down, got about another half an hour of the ebb, and then we're going to fish the flood all the way in, or most of the way in. We've got a westerly wind at the moment, and we're just at the start of the big tide. So we've got a 1.2 meter low, and then it's coming up to a 4.8. That's not as big as they get, but it's the biggest of this set. So yeah, we're going to head out now, just going to fish a couple of gullies tonight and just try something a bit different. The last few times I've been up on the piers and stuff, so yeah, try and find a couple of gullies and a little hole to get into and see if we can find a fish or two. But as I say, this one's going up regardless, so yeah, I hope you enjoy. All right, so same as normal. A bit annoyed I forgot my cart this evening, which is a bit frustrating because I do like to use cart this time of year. It's normally quite a productive bait, but yeah, we're just going for mackerel, bit of squid. I'm going to pop a prawn on there, and then I have actually managed to find a bit of peeler at the bottom of my bait bucket, so going to wrap a bit of peeler over the top, and hopefully that will substitute missing the cart. So yeah, just start off by wrapping this prawn onto the top there, get that going. Bit of squid. I always just like to use a bit of squid because it just gives the bait a bit of you know, toughness, especially if there's a few crabs around, which there shouldn't be at this time of year, but it just hasn't been as cold as normal, and it's held the crabs inshore a little bit more than they normally would. So yeah, pop that over there. I'm going to put that bit of peeler just over the top there, wrap it all together, and then same setup as normal. We're using a pulley pennel rig. I'm using a 6/0 main hook and then a 5/0 circle hook. So yeah, I'd expect possibly a little bit of tackle loss here. This mark which I'm on, it is a bit snaggy where we're going to be casting into, because there's kind of a bit of a hole in between 2 rocks. So yeah, you kind of want to aim for the middle of the hole, but yeah, there's quite a lot of kelp as you pull the way through. So if we do manage to hook a fish, hopefully we don't snag on the way back in. We're just going to feed that main hook through the bottom there, and then hold the eye of the hook down, and then just wrap a bit of bait elastic around the top of the eye just to hold that hook in place. Oh, it's not very strong, this bait elastic, annoyingly, so it keeps snapping on me. Did have some slightly stronger stuff, but that's run out. I'm waiting for some more to arrive in the post. There we go, just tie that off. And we get our circle hook, give that a couple of twists around the line, and then pop that through the top, and just make sure the hook point's nice and proud. So as I say, we've got a small westerly wind tonight, which is not great in this area. Generally want like a north or an easterly, but yeah, whatever, it's nice to get out and get a few baits in the water, and we might get lucky possibly. So yeah, there we go, there's our nice bait all ready to go. Yeah, nice main hook and circle hook both pointing out, and a bit of squid on the bottom there. So yeah, let's get that thrown out there and see if we can find a fish in one of these little gullies. So that's our first bait out in the water. You're not really going to be able to see too much apart from the tip light, but yeah, first bait's in the water. I'm glad I bought my hat and stuff tonight. I definitely didn't think it would be as cold as it is tonight, so that was a really nice cast. I'm happy where that's gone. It's right in the middle of those 2 rocks, so it's sort of, there's a rock either side, and then there's a nice sort of divot and hole in the middle, so we've got it nicely into that hole. So yeah, we'll just see if we can get anything. It's actually a nice bit of movement on the water, which I didn't really expect tonight. There's really good colour here, so apart from the wind direction and the swell direction, you know, it's looking like it could be a good evening. So yeah, keep watching this rod tip and see if we can manage to find a fish, hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, the moon's out in full force tonight, so we've got a really nice clear night. Again, that sort of goes against us a bit, the fish not too keen to bite in a really sort of full moon, but yeah, we'll see what we can find. Hopefully we manage to find something. Either way, nice calm night, lovely to be out fishing. So yeah, we'll bring you back if we manage to get a bite or two. We're getting a bite here, first little inquiry. just holding the rod just to see if that's going to come back. Yep, there we go. Alright, got to get this up quick so it gets over the reef. Doesn't feel bad. Oh, stumping quite a lot actually. There's a big kelp bed out in front of me, so I've got to get this, keep this quite high up. Oh, it's wanting to dive back down. Is it a cod or is it, I think it's a small cod. It's actually got itself a little bit tangled up there in the line. Hopefully calm down, fella. He's actually just spat the hook straight away, so there we go. Nice small little codling there. Nice small one. He spat the hook, he's unhooked, so we're just going to pop him straight back. There we go, off he goes. There we go, it was nice to get a fish on the cards, the blank's off, so yeah, that bait looks quite well intact actually. You can see the circle hook has been pulled down there, so he would have been on the circle. But yeah, let's get that bait freshened up and we'll get another one back out there. So good sign, the fish are obviously around. The tide's just turned and this mark does fish quite well for the first couple of hours of the flood, so yeah, let's get another bait out. So there we go, there's bait number 2 there. So we've just I've just added another bit of squid onto the side just to hold it together, and then just attach another prawn to it, so that bait was in quite good condition. That was a bit weird, that one. So the fish had actually wrapped itself up in the line quite a lot, which is why it felt a lot heavier than it was, because it was coming in sideways. But yeah, just a small little one there, but at least the blank's off. So yeah, we'll just go and pop this back out and get it cast out. I hope the audio is okay tonight. That wind's picked up a little bit, so I'm trying to keep my back to it, but yeah, it might catch the mic a bit. So yeah, this is I always use detachable rig lengths, which is really handy. It just makes it really easy if you're wanting to unhook the fish and leave it in a pool to recover, and you can get another bait out there quickly. So that's just a small micro swivel, and then this is onto a Trident tackle Thermalink, and yeah, they just snap off really easily like that. So it's the blue tackle on the blue gloves is probably quite hard to see, but yeah, there we go, that's the bait put back on. Same on the end here, so I just use a Thermalink onto this roto bait clip. I don't actually clip the rig down a lot of the time, but again, it just makes it really handy just to be able to detach the weight quite easily. So yeah, it's good tackle this. I really like using it. I've been using it for a couple of years now, and yeah, really impressed with it. It's nice strong stuff, and it just makes the fishing really easy. Anyway, let's get this cast out. The tide's starting to turn. That rig's not looking too healthy on that section there, but hopefully it will last another cast or two, and hopefully we don't lose a fish. Oh, we're getting another bite here. It's quite hard to see the bites tonight because of the wind. It's moving the rod quite a lot, so I'm tending to sort of notice a little bite and then just pick the rod up to hold it. So yeah, we're just going to see if this one comes back a bit. Very, very small bites. There's obviously just a smaller shoal of fish out there. Hopefully the bigger ones aren't too far behind. I can't feel anything on that one now, so give it another couple of seconds and then I'll pop the rod back in the tripod. It's pretty cold tonight actually. I didn't expect that wind to pick back up. It wasn't forecast to. So yeah, it's picked up quite a lot. I think we're about 3 degrees air temperature tonight, and the water's a little bit warmer than that actually, probably about 6 or 7. So yeah, it's a pretty chilly night. Definitely glad I bought the the big thick beanie and my scarf. That one looks like that's gone away, so I'm just going to pop that rod back down, see if it comes back in a little while. Right, this bait's been out here a good sort of 20 minutes now, so I'm going to bring it in and give it a bit of a refresh. Going to stay on this mark for a little bit longer, and then, you know, might think about moving to one of the other gullies as the tide comes in a little bit further. Oh damn, I've got snagged on that reef on the way in. Oh, there we go, free again. Got to really keep the rod tip up high when you're coming through this stuff, because there's a really big reef, and then straight after that there's a big kelp bed. See what that bait looks like. It's not too bad, that bait. That's just a little bit pulled down, but that will have been where it snagged on the way in. So let's go and get a fresh one on and yeah, chuck it back out. Yeah, just walking back out. Just going to chuck this back out again. We go slightly different position this time. Go a little bit further to the left than where I was before. Okay. Set that back down on the tripod and just gently reel into it. I don't want to pull in, don't want to reel in too much to where we are here, because as I say, it is a bit snaggy, so don't want the line to be too tight. Okay, that's it. Yeah, so that one little codling there we had, that one got my heart racing a little bit. It felt a lot bigger than it was because it had tangled itself up in the line and came in sideways. So when I was reeling it in, it felt like a pretty decent fish, but yeah, just a small little one, that. So yeah, we've got another bait in the water here at the moment. Not too much going on, so I'm going to give this one about another 5 minutes soak. Then we'll probably chuck one more bait out, and then I'm going to move slightly more to my right hand side to another little gully which I know, and see if there's anything about in there. But it's a lovely evening to be out tonight. I've seen so many shooting stars, and yeah, the moon's out in full force. Barely even need a head torch tonight, so yeah, it's just a lovely evening to be out, albeit a little bit cold. So yeah, we're just watching this rod tip here. So yeah, I'd say another 5 more minutes on this bait, fresh one out there, and then we'll move on to another mark and see if we can find anything else. There's definitely something small just playing around with this at the moment. Just had a couple of very small taps, so it's either going to be a very small codling or a coalie or something. I should think, looking at how the rod was moving, I suspect it's probably a coalie. It was a bit more of a rattle like that, as opposed to a cod would be a bit more of a thump like this. We'll just give this a few minutes, see if it comes back. If not, we'll chuck that fresh bait out, and then we'll move on to another mark after that cast. I can't feel anything at the moment, so probably just a little passing fish, or maybe, as I say, I've got quite big hooks on, so if it was a coalie, it's probably just playing with the bait. It wouldn't be able to actually get these 6-0s in its mouth. Pop it back down on the tripod just in case it comes back, but I'll go and make up another bait in the meantime. Tighten that line up a fraction. Right, I'll leave that out there, and we'll go and get another bait made up. I tried something a little bit different on this bait, so I just knocked a couple of limpets off the rocks here. So I just strapped a couple of those on the back. So there's a couple of limpets, a couple of prawns, and then a nice strip of mackerel on the back there. So yeah, let's pop that one out there and see if that gets any interest. So as I say, this is going to be the last cast at this mark, so I'm going to go roughly the same area as before, but I'm going to try and get it a little bit further out there, just because it's quite a small tide. I'm going to try and get into a little bit of deeper water and just get right behind that structure. So that looks good. A bit further out, as I say, this time. And yeah, we'll see if we can pick up a fish out there, but if not, we'll give that probably, I say we'll give it 15 minutes, I reckon, and then we'll head on to another mark. There we go, just sit that one down there. Right, so that's me just moving off that first mark. The tide was coming in quite nicely there, and it looked like it could fish a bit longer, but I've never tried this other gully, which I'm going to go to now, so I fancied giving it another go. So yeah, just walking off now, and we'll go and get another bait in and see what we can find. Nice to have one fish out so far. So yeah, hopefully this other mark produces another fish or two. We'll have to see. Just got to make my way across the rocks here. I'm not sure how well you can see this. I'll try and turn my torch on a bit. But this is the difficulty with fishing in the winter. Just an absolute bed of kelp on the beach here. There's so much weed, and obviously this is sitting right on the low tide line at the moment. Probably can't see really, I'm afraid, on the camera, but it's just at the end of my rod rest here. There's a really big bed of kelp, and obviously as the tide pushes in, that's all going to get lifted back up, and then it just sits around in the swell, and then you get really bad snags. So yeah, it's not too bad now because we've had sort of most of the worst of the weather, which has ripped it up, but it does get frustrating when you're just pulling in huge bunches of kelp all the time. Right, again, hopefully you can hear okay because it's pretty windy where we are now. So I've moved around the point, so obviously I'm not being sheltered by any of the rock or anything now, so it's quite windy. But yeah, we've just come to the edge of this other gully. The tide's flooding quite quickly now, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful and make sure I watch the water. But we're just going to chuck a bait out into the beginning of the gully, and probably just fish one bait here, I think, probably 15-20 minutes, and then we're going to move back round again and just follow the tide back in a bit more. Yeah, and we'll see if we might pick another mark. We'll see how it goes. If I feel it's not looking very productive, then we'll call it a night. But yeah, I feel like we might still have a chance of a fish or two, so we'll get this one out there, and then we'll see if we can get any bites or anything. I'm not quite sure if this was the wind or if I did just get a small bite on this this bait just here. I'm just holding the rod to see if I can see a little bit better, or feel a little bit better rather. Definitely looked like a bite. There's nothing there at the moment. Just see if it feels like anything's going to come back. As the tide's coming in, I can just feel the braid just brushing a bit on the weed as well, so a little bit rocky and snaggy where we are here. No, there's nothing there on that one, so pop it back down and just see if anything does come for it. Now that one there where I thought I was getting a bite, I think I might have, because once I put the rod back down, I realised that my line was much further off to the right, and the tide's moving to the left, so something had pulled me to the right and it was in a snag, and I ended up losing the hook length. So I've just popped another one on, and we're going to throw this other bait out there now, get right into the middle of this gully. There we go, pop that out there and see what that one does. I was cold earlier, but having done that walk back to the van, it's certainly not cold anymore, especially not with thermals on. Well, it was a good session in the end. At least we got a fish. Oh, well, that's us back at the van now. So yeah, good little session that. We got out here at about 9 o'clock. And it's now 20 to 1, so yeah, pretty late, so gonna head back home and get some kip. But yeah, good session in the end. Nice to get the blank off finally. So yeah, only a small fish. As I said earlier, it really got my heart racing, that one, because when I was reeling it in, it felt really, really big, but obviously it was just that small codling tangled up in the line, so it was coming in sideways, which made it feel a lot bigger than it was. But anyway, a fish nonetheless, so that was good. Yeah, we got another bite. Well, I think it was another bite at that last mark, because I cast quite far out to the left and the tide was pushing to the left, and then I got that bite, what I felt like was a bite. As I put the rod back in the rest, I noticed that the line was quite far off to the right hand side, and yeah, obviously that's going against the tide, so something must have pulled it up that way. And when I went to reel it in, it was snagged, unfortunately, so it snapped that line off. Popped another rig on, another bait, popped that out, and then that one got snagged up as well, so called it a night after that. But yeah, nice to get a fish finally. And yeah, hope you're enjoying the videos. And I don't think I'm going to bother picking the conditions anymore. I'm just going to head out whenever I can, whenever I feel like it, and we'll see if we can catch another fish or two. So yeah, if you like the videos, it'd be great if you could give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when the videos go online. And yeah, as soon as we can get back out on the shore, we'll hit another video up. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to head back home, get cleaned up, get some sleep, and yeah, all the best, and we'll see you soon. Cheers then, bye.